But we have more work to do. So today, I'm announcing additional steps forward. After a comprehensive review, I've determined that we can ensure the security of America and our allies, and maintain a strong and credible strategic deterrent. While reducing our deployed strategic nuclear weapons by up to 1/3. And I intend to seek negotiated cuts with Russia to move beyond Cold War nuclear postures. At the same time, we'll work with our NATO allies to seek bold reductions in U. S and Russian tactical weapons in Europe. And we can forge a new international framework for peaceful nuclear power. And reject the nuclear weaponization that North Korea and Iran may be seeking. America will host a summit in 2016 to continue our efforts to secure nuclear materials around the world. And we will work to build support in the United States to ratify the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. And call on all nations to begin negotiations on a treaty that ends the production of fissile materials for nuclear weapons. These are steps we can take to create a world of peace with justice. Peace with justice means refusing to condemn our children to a harsher, less hospitable planet. The effort to slow climate change requires bold action. And on this, Germany and Europe have led. In the United States, we have recently doubled our renewable energy from clean sources like wind and solar power. We're doubling fuel efficiency on our cars. Our dangerous carbon emissions have come down. But we know we have to do more, and we will do more. with the global middle class consuming more energy every day. This must now be an effort of all nations, not just some. For the grim alternative affects all nations more severe storms. More famine and floods, new waves of refugees, coastlines that vanish. Oceans that rise. This is the future we must avert. This is the global threat of our time. And for the sake of future generations, our generation must move toward a global compact to confront. A changing climate before it is too late. That is our job. That is our task. We have to get to work. Peace with justice means meeting our moral obligations. And we have a moral obligation and a profound interest in helping lift the impoverished corners of the world. By promoting growth so we spare a child born today a lifetime of extreme poverty. By investing in agriculture, so we aren't just sending food, but also teaching farmers to grow food. By strengthening public health, so we're not just sending medicine. But training doctors and nurses who will help end the outrage of children dying from preventable diseases. Making sure that we do everything we can to realize the promise. An achievable promise of the first AIDS-free generation. That is something that is possible if we feel a sufficient sense of urgency. Our efforts have to be about more than just charity. They're about new models of empowering people to build institutions. To abandon the rot of corruption, to create ties of trade, not just aid. both with the West and among the nations there seeking to rise and increase their capacity. Because when they succeed, we will be more successful as well. Our fates are linked, and we cannot ignore those who are yearning not only for freedom but also prosperity. And finally, let's remember that peace with justice depends on our ability to sustain both the security of our societies and the openness that defines them. Threats to freedom don't merely come from the outside. They can emerge from within, from our own fears, from the disengagement of our citizens. For over a decade, America has been at war. Yet much has now changed over the 5 years since I last spoke here in Berlin. The Iraq War is now over. The Afghan War is coming to an end. Osama bin Laden is no more. Our efforts against Al-Qaeda are evolving. And given these changes, last month, I spoke about America's efforts against terrorism. And I drew inspiration from one of our founding fathers, James Madison. Who wrote, "No nation could preserve its freedom in the midst of continual warfare." James Madison is right, which is why, even as we remain vigilant about the threat of terrorism, we must move beyond a mindset of perpetual war. And in America, that means redoubling our efforts to close the prison at Guantanamo. It means tightly controlling our use of new technologies like drones. It means balancing the pursuit of security with the protection of privacy. And I'm confident that that balance can be struck. I'm confident of that, and I'm confident that working with Germany, we can keep each other safe while at the same time maintaining those essential values for which we fought for. Our current programs are bound by the rule of law. And they're focused on threats to our security, not the communications of ordinary persons. They help confront real dangers, and they keep people safe here in the United States and here in Europe. But we must accept the challenge that all of us in democratic governments face, to listen to the voices who disagree with us. To have an open debate about how we use our powers and how we must constrain them. And to always remember that government exists to serve the power of the individual, and not the other way around. That's what makes us who we are, and that's what makes us different from those on the other side of the wall. That is how we'll stay true to our better history while reaching for the day of peace and justice that is to come. These are the beliefs that guide us, the values that inspire us. The principles that bind us together as free peoples who still believe the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And we should ask, should anyone ask if our generation has the courage to meet these tests? If anybody asks if President Kennedy's words ring true today, let them come to Berlin. For here they will find the people who emerged from the ruins of war to reap the blessings of peace. From the pain of division to the joy of reunification. And here, they will recall how people trapped behind a wall braved bullets. And jumped barbed wire, and dashed across minefields, and dug through tunnels. and leapt from buildings, and swam across the Spree to claim their most basic right of freedom. The wall belongs to history. But we have history to make as well. And the heroes that came before us now call to us to live. Up to those highest ideals to care for the young people who can't find a job in our own countries. And the girls who aren't allowed to go to school overseas, to be vigilant in safeguarding our own freedoms. But also to extend a hand to those who are reaching for freedom abroad. This is the lesson of the ages. This is the spirit of Berlin. And the greatest tribute that we can pay to those who came before us is by carrying on their work to pursue peace and justice not only in our countries but for all mankind. Vielen Dank. God bless you. God bless the peoples of Germany. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Barack Obama. Address to the British Parliament. Delivered May 25, 2011, Westminster Hall, London. Thank you, so much. My Lord Chancellor, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Prime Minister, my Lords, and members of the House of Commons. I have known few greater honours than the opportunity to address the Mother of Parliaments at Westminster Hall. I am told that the last 3 speakers here have been the Pope, Her Majesty the Queen. And Nelson Mandela, which is either a very high bar or the beginning of a very funny joke. I come here today to reaffirm one of the oldest, one of the strongest alliances the world has ever known. It's long been said that the United States and the United Kingdom share a special relationship. And since we also share an especially active press corps, that relationship is often analyzed and overanalyzed for the slightest hint of stress or strain. Of course, all relationships have their ups and downs. Admittedly, ours got off on the wrong foot with a small scrape about tea and taxes. There may also have been some hurt feelings when the White House was set on fire. During the War of 1812. But fortunately, it's been smooth sailing ever since. The reason for this close friendship doesn't just have to do with our shared history, our shared heritage. Our ties of language and culture, or even the strong partnership between our governments. Our relationship is special because of the values and beliefs that have united our people through the ages. Centuries ago, when kings, emperors, and warlords reigned over much of the world, it was the English who first spelled out the rights and liberties of man in the Magna Carta. It was here, in this very hall, where the rule of law first developed, courts were established. Disputes were settled, and citizens came to petition their leaders. Over time, the people of this nation waged a long and sometimes bloody struggle to expand and secure their freedom from the crown. Propelled by the ideals of the Enlightenment, they would ultimately forge an English Bill of Rights. And invest the power to govern in an elected parliament that's gathered here today.